Hey, my friends. Sorry, I'm in the middle of doing my laundry at home, and I just got inspired to do a follow up video related to the six-way speaker demo that I just did. I'm just out here catching up on some videos, Rogan's podcast, playing some Skyrim. As you can see, the theater space is not exactly set up, but to the point of the video, I received a lot of feedback on the six-way demo, and a lot of people had expressed their opinions, feedback based on the video, based on some other things. I have some thoughts and I'll share them with you in this video. I'll keep this one relatively short, so I appreciate any thumbs up, comments, feedback as well. We're all in this kind of together. Without your viewership and input, none of these videos would really make any kind of difference. So here's my take on what I did. And what I did wasn't like a definitive scientific, absolutely be all end all thing. We know that. I'm agreeing with most of you. The comparison between, it's actually kind of funny that the budget stuff is here and the more expensive stuff is over there. So Kanto, Monolith, SVS in that order for costs. A lot of people had given their feedback and said that the B6 Monolith speakers were actually some of the best value in the set. Now, the Kantos are undersized. It's not a fair comparison, but everything else has a 6-inch woofer. So all of these are the same bass range. The Kantos being the cheapest really underperformed, and they won't have the same SPL. Monolith, same thing. They have a really nice presentation. Also, think about waveguide, 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 waveguide. This is just a dome tweeter with barely any waveguide and no waveguide at all. The monoliths are some of the best value. You can get 70% of most of this stuff for $250 each. That's pretty incredible. It has some resonance issues. You can check some of the detailed analysis that Aaron's Audio Corner did and a few others. The SVS have a different kind of profile. You can hear it in the white noise. They sound a little bit more mid, sort of chirpy, bright-ish. The aluminum dome is better than their previous one. It is what it is. Barely anybody said anything about the SVS. That's what I'm saying. So no one really said anything about Kanto. No comments about SVS. Monolith got some love. People were anticipating the Clarity to do best, and that's bias, right? Like it's a new speaker, it's a great brand. Peter Lingdorf and Lars Risbo of Purify, they engineered it to be very great, and in the video, it surprised people that it didn't do very well. A few people said that the Kefs were like a close second to the A10s, which were the majority vote. Most people preferred the A10s over everything else, which was a surprise. Now, I'm going to say a number of things about the video. One, if you can hear my voice in my room, I mean, even if I walk away from my camera, there isn't as much reverb in this room as it sounds like in the video. You don't hear it sitting in this space. For whatever reason, the phone's mics, the way it's recording, maybe the way that it handles audio in general, it's not a good recording for audio detail. I'm going to admit that I wanted to do it just to see what would happen. I know just as much now as you know after hearing it that it's not a good enough demo setup. My phone mics, even the DJI mics, whatever they are, maybe if I use the individual mics, which I have on my other desk, and I put like an individual stereo left and right on a stand in front of the speakers like a meter away, and then I retested everything. Please, God, don't make me do that. Then maybe we would get a better type of sound from the recordings because it's a dedicated mic. It's not built into the phone. There's no software trying to do like sound correction, spatial, whatever. I don't know how the phone records audio. All I know is in the hi-fi space, All of the things that we really want to know are in time domain, high frequency extension, decay, articulation, attack. The phone recording just isn't good enough. The clarities are better in person than what I heard on the phone. Overall, all of them have better high frequency response in person compared to the recording. That's a fact. The fact that the A10s perform so well, they have their own amp built in. It wasn't the Orchard Audio I was using like I did for everything else. The A10s have their own tuned DSP built in and their own bi-amp, so they have a very, very high advantage to everything else, even though the phone's recording was actually crippling all of them. So what you can hear in the video is really an experiment for me, and to the point of a lot of people who I asked in other forums, Facebook, most of them said that sound demos online are basically useless. And to a point of hearing what things are really like, they're right. I knew that going into this, it wasn't going to give me accurate recordings. But even comparing them to each other, some people found it a little surprising. And I'm going to add another caveat to this. If you haven't seen the 6-way video, or if you have, please watch it. Take a look at all the timestamps are in the description, but skip from white noise to white noise to white noise to white noise and pay attention to the decibels that are showing up. One, it was changing rapidly, so it wasn't like averaged out very smooth. I could change that if I did this again. I also think that these were the lowest. Out of all of the decibel rating, for whatever reason, I find that even in the playback, the clarities were not playing at the same decibel level as everything else. So that also would mean that either of these two, because they were hot and I set it in my adjustments, this was the lowest. The Monolith I had to adjust a bit more. The SVS I had to bring down a little bit. I think that the dB meter on my phone, which I use the same one for everything, was A-weighted. So there, you know what I mean? Like there are some differences there. It wasn't scientific. Maybe I didn't control all of the different variables. It was entertaining. It was educational, but that's the process, right? That's what audio is about. Audio is not just a one and done and just read a textbook and then everything is fine. Measure once, place once. That's not how it works. Most of us know that. There are a lot of variables. Someone suggested my room is too boomy, and it is. And they were suggesting there's reverb issues and I should add thicker panels. Well, they're right to a degree, but on the video, it's not as reverb sounding as it is when you're listening to music. The room just doesn't sound the way it does on the phone. So I've learned something important about trying to do sound demos, and I need to convey that to my audience and say that all of them were muted. There's not as much high frequency mid reverb as it sounds in the video. I don't know if the levels were 100% the same. It was a little difficult the way I was doing it. Also, maybe the way I was holding the phone. I could, if I could afford it, and I can't buy new mics. I can't buy a new dB meter. There's a number of things that I can't do, and a lot of people suggest just, hey, buy new mics, get this, do that. Well, I'm sorry. I don't see everybody that watches my videos subscribe to my Patreon and send me a number of dollars every month to help out doing these extra things you ask for. Someone even asked for a specific song or something. Well, this isn't a radio station, and I have to avoid songs being blocked. The fact that I'm doing sound demos at all is one thing, because most videos and channels don't, unless they're at an audio show. This week, also, I want to say at the end of all of that stuff, and if I missed any points and people have questions, please ask me. This weekend is Capital Audio Fest, so shout out to all of my friends and peers that are at Capital Audio Fest this weekend. I really, really wish that I had the means to follow you down to these shows. I don't. I only have a 9-to-5 day job, and that pays my bills, and that is everything to me right now. In order for me to make enough money traveling or working at anything else, it can't take away from my 9-to-5 because it pays me the most. Nothing in audio yet has paid me as much as my day job, except for maybe one contract in at Expona 2024. And big shout outs to my friend for that. He knows who he is. I appreciate that so much. Also to in Florida Audio Expo 2024, I got sponsored to fly down there through some friends and peers, through a company. They asked me to come down. They donated some money for me to come down. I covered the show for a magazine, which paid me half of what I was donated. So this is a big reason why I think working in hi-fi is a problem right now, because the money to do it is not equal to the time and expenses that it actually costs to do it. It's way underpaid. I've been asked to do a number of things. I've had to just say no based on principle, because it's really just, I know it's a hobby, but I don't feel like being taken advantage of because it's my hobby. I have a passion for it, yes, but at the end of the day, I have to look at the bottom line. And the bottom line is those ends don't connect. It rarely does, and I'm only looking forward to the future where I can make them connect. The more that I can do, the more that I can show up, the more that I can travel, the more experience I'll have, and the more equipment that I can use to bring more interesting things. Right now, these are only like the third pair that have ever been put online, maybe fourth pair. Aaron's measured them. There's a few guys that are in the German space that are connected to the distribution network in Europe, where you can't listen to the reviews in English. I'm working on it. I was graciously gifted these from the company just to listen to, because I've been friends with Lars from Purify for a while. Bucart also just lent me the units, because we're friends. It's not for review purposes. And that's why I'm not doing a formal review. I'm talking with the audience. I'm sharing with you guys the things that I can, because this is the only way that I can do this with audio right now, is to build solid friendships, produce really honest and casual, unorthodox content, because I'm not scripting anything to get paid, because I'm not getting paid. I don't know how that works. A lot of other people step up. They do edited videos. They must get sponsorships, and they must get paid for what they're doing, whether they tell you or not, because why would you work so hard for nothing? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how it all works behind the curtains, but something doesn't fit. And from my perspective, I'm certainly not getting offered any money to, or at least enough money to do this stuff. Maybe if I had a better job, I could afford to do it as fun, but I can't. So that's really what I'm saying is, yes, I want better mics. Yes, I'd love to treat my room. I don't see Vi Acoustics offering me anything, and none of my local dealers have given me anything. I bought everything in here myself. I've worked hard in the video space and media space to earn the ability to borrow the Kefs, borrow the Bucarts, borrow the Radiants, and then I won the SVS. I bought the Monoliths. I bought the Kanto. I bought the Arundel. I bought the Orchard Audios. I bought the Rotel and the Weem Plus. So I bought most of the stuff that's in here. And it's only because of the content that I'm creating that I've built a relationship in order to borrow from my friends. And that's really what it is about me and you and some of the owners and engineers that have become my friends, that I'm able to do this. So like I said, yes, I'd love to do better recordings and mixing and do this stuff all the time, but like 9-to-5 job, only time on the weekend, limited equipment. No one's paying me, so you know what I mean? Like, let's be reasonable about the commands, because YouTube's not paying me. I'm not getting paid through Patreon. I'm not getting sponsored. I have a 9-to-5 that covers my bills. All of this is extra. So maybe I said more than I thought I was going to say, but that's my take on the demo. The 6-way demo through my phone, inconclusive, not accurate to my room. Listening to it back myself was part of the experiment. It was for entertainment, because as a definitive type of thing, I can offer you my opinions, and maybe I'll do a longer video to talk about that. I will do more listening sessions with the speakers. On a final note, if you guys watch to the end, word of the day, word of the video is going to be family. Please understand that there's a situation coming up where I will be volunteering volunteering in a situation where I will be taking on a roommate. It is family. It's for an important reason. It's complicated. I don't know why I said that weird. I'm getting tired. It's complicated. I can't tell you the reasons, only that someone in my family will be staying here. I don't know how we're going to arrange things or timing or schedule, but this room is essentially going to become their bedroom. That's going to complicate my videos and how I'm producing things, whether we change the room around, whether it stays the way it is. That's a discussion that has to come up once everything is finalized. Again, I can't tell you exactly what's going on for privacy's sake, but that's a heads up. So word of the day is family. You know that family comes first. I'm trying to do my best in what I'm doing here. I've been medically sick. I've been stressed out. I've been all kinds of things. So like I said, the demands and the asks online, please understand, I'm just a person and none of this stuff is paid. So I got to be honest and just let you know what I think. And again, to reiterate, all of them were muted versus in room. I think that the level matching wasn't as accurate as it could be, and the A10s have an advantage over everything because they have their own DSP tuning and their own amplifiers. Everything else was played on the Orchard Audio and Rotel. The A10s have their own amp and their own tuning, so maybe that's the reason why we hear what we hear. Anyways, it's enough for me. I'm going to do some listening, get to my laundry, and do some other sort of domestic stuff around the house. Thank you for watching and keeping up with me on this channel. I truly, truly support the positive and respectful supporters, and I welcome everybody with their feedback as long as you're being respectful. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Again, shout out to Capital Audio Fest friends. I hope your weekend goes well, and I'll catch you all in the future.